The burden of what you could be. There's a weight that only a few people ever feel, the weight of potential. It's invisible. But it's heavy. You can't see it. But you can't escape it either. It lives in that quiet voice inside that whispers, you were meant for more. It's not pressure from the world. It's pressure from your own soul. Because deep down, you know you're capable of something greater. But you're not living it yet. And that gap between who you are and who you could be? That's the heaviest weight you'll ever carry. Potential feels like a promise. But it's also a burden. Because when you catch a glimpse of who you could become, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to average. You can't pretend to be content with less. Once you've seen what's possible, anything less feels like suffocating. It doesn't haunt you to punish you, it haunts you to remind you. To remind you that you're wasting something sacred. Because potential means nothing if it's never used. It's a gift, but a gift with an expiration date. Every day you hesitate, every excuse you make, every moment you choose comfort over growth, your potential fades just a little more. Not because you've lost it, but because potential, left untouched, evaporates. You know that feeling when you're doing fine. But something in you aches for more. That ache isn't dissatisfaction. It's direction. It's life trying to wake you up, to remind you that you weren't built to play small. You weren't made to fit in, you were made to expand. But here's the truth most people avoid: potential doesn't guarantee greatness. It only offers the chance for it. And most people never cash it in. They confuse having potential with living up to it. They confuse capability with commitment. You can have the gift. But if you never use it, you'll spend your life haunted by what could have been. When potential turns into regret, the cruel thing about potential is this: it doesn't disappear when you ignore it. It just turns into regret. It sits inside you, quiet but constant. A storm that never stops rumbling. It reminds you of everything you could have done, everything you said you'd start, everything you still haven't become. And that's the kind of pain you can't escape, because it's not coming from outside of you. It's coming from within. You can numb it with distractions. You can bury it under busyness. You can tell yourself, maybe later. But potential doesn't wait forever. It fades every time you postpone your purpose. Every day you say tomorrow, you lose a piece of the momentum you could have built today. And one day, you'll look back and realize that waiting for the right time was just fear, wearing a mask of logic. You're not running out of time, you're running out of urgency. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. Never a day when you feel completely ready. Never a season where all the uncertainty disappears. The people who fulfill their potential aren't the ones who had everything figured out. They're the ones who moved anyway. They built while they were still unsure. They learned while they were still afraid. They created momentum through motion, not perfection. Because potential doesn't grow in your comfort zone. It grows in the stretch, the stumble, the start again. Every mistake you make is proof that you're moving. Every setback means you tried. And every time you try, you get closer to the version of yourself that potential has been calling you to meet. Because potential isn't a destination, it's a direction. It's not what you have. It's what you're becoming. The longer you sit still, the heavier your potential becomes. But the moment you move even slightly, everything shifts. The guilt turns into fuel. The fear turns into focus. The weight turns into energy. And suddenly, what once felt like a burden starts to feel like power. Because potential was never meant to crush you. It was meant to call you up. Turning potential into power. Potential doesn't demand perfection, it demands action. You don't need the whole path figured out. You just need to take the next step. Because every step you take toward your calling lightens the weight you've been carrying inside. Each time you move toward your potential, you reclaim a piece of yourself that fear once held hostage. But here's the truth most people never face: when you ignore your potential, it doesn't disappear. It turns against you. It becomes restlessness. It becomes frustration. It becomes that quiet voice at 2 a.m. asking, "Why am I still here?" You can't outthink that question. You can't silence it by pretending you're fine. The cure for that pain isn't more planning, it's movement. Even small steps count. Even messy effort matters. Because action creates clarity, clarity builds progress. And progress destroys fear. That's how potential becomes purpose through motion. Not someday. Not when it's easy. But now, while you still have the chance to move. You don't become ready before you start. You become ready because you started. Potential isn't a gift, it's a responsibility. You were trusted with something powerful: a skill, an idea, a passion, a drive, something that could change your life. And maybe even someone else's. But if you don't use it, you waste not just your opportunity, you waste your impact. Your potential isn't about you alone. It's about everyone who could have been inspired by the courage you refuse to show. So stop carrying your potential like a burden. Start using it like a weapon. Because the weight doesn't go away until you lift it. And the only way to lift it is to move. Every time you take action, you free yourself from the ghost of what you could be and start becoming who you are. That's how you honor your potential, not by dreaming, but by doing. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for certainty. Wait long enough, and your potential will turn into regret. But act now, and it will turn into legacy. Living light, there's a moment, quiet, simple, life-changing, when you finally stop waiting. When you stop doubting. When you stop apologizing to your own potential. That moment feels like breathing after years underwater. The weight you've carried, the weight of everything you could have been, starts to lift. Not because it suddenly got lighter, but because you finally started using it. See, potential was never meant to crush you. It was meant to shape you. It's the pressure that turns coal into diamonds, the grind that turns repetition into mastery, the struggle that transforms ordinary lives into legacies. But most people never reach that point. They talk about their dreams more than they chase them. They wait for signs instead of making moves. They confuse having potential with fulfilling it. And one day they realize the cruelest truth of all: they were never waiting on life. Life was waiting on them. Potential doesn't die when you fail. It dies when you stop trying. It fades the moment you choose comfort over calling, fear over faith, someday over today. You can fail 100 times and still move forward. But the second you stop, the second you let fear convince you that maybe later is safe, your potential becomes a ghost. It will follow you silently, whispering, "You could have been more." But here's the beauty: it's not too late. You can start now. Right here. With what you have. With who you are. You don't need permission. You just need a decision. Because potential doesn't require perfect timing, it just requires movement. Permission to grow. Permission to fail. Permission to become what you were always meant to be. So if you feel that ache, that pull, that heavy restlessness inside, don't run from it. Run with it. Let it push you forward. Let it break you open. Let it turn your hesitation into hunger. Because potential isn't a curse. It's a calling. And the moment you answer it, the moment you step into what you were born to do, you'll stop feeling heavy. You'll start feeling alive.